Thomas Green here with Ethical Marketing Service. On the podcast today, we have Kristin Ostrander. Kristin, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
How are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, marvelous. Would you like to take a moment and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Certainly. So I am Kristin Ostrander. I am the owner and founder of mommyincome.com, and I teach others to start and grow businesses in the e-commerce space, specifically with Amazon.
Well, that's a good segue because that's what we're going to talk about today, Amazon. And essentially, I mean, I'd like to just ask sort of what's the baseline of what you teach them? What's the categories that you go through when you're teaching a business on Amazon?
Well, firstly, I mean, it has to do with where they start and where they begin. If they have no e-commerce experience whatsoever, I have a training course called Start FBA Today. It's just kind of learning the processes. But mostly, I love to teach my own signature series, which is wholesale bundles. I've tried every business model on Amazon that has been available. I've been selling on Amazon since 2008. So it's just a bit of an early adopter. And as I'm going through the different business models and competition levels and things, I've tried and failed at many different things and tried and succeeded at other great things. And so kind of come to what I feel like is a hybrid business model on Amazon that has really been the essence of all of my growth and success since I started that business model.
Okay. And you said the first one was FBA. So that's fulfillment by Amazon, where you send your stock off and they post it on your behalf. Is that right?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And that was really what set Amazon apart in the very beginning of what they started to offer. You know, prior to that, there was a lot of e-commerce stores. People would have their own individual stores. They would have to ship products, things like eBay, which was obviously big and still a really big marketplace today. But the downside to some of those things is you would have to create all of your own listings. You'd have to take all the photographs. You'd have to ship to customers and deal with customer service all in one. And that became as scalability a stumbling block for scalability. And when you're doing all those things yourself, it's really difficult to keep all the balls in the air without dropping any of them. And so when Amazon FBA kind of bursted onto the scene early on, I want to say I started that in 2008, 2009, they created a whole different system that made it so simple to just sell things on Amazon that already existed. So anything with a barcode, a UPC code, a international standard book number, any of those ISBN type things that you could literally put out there without having to do all the other work. And on top of that, Amazon said, ship it all to us and we'll ship it to the customers on your behalf and deal with them and collect payment. And it was kind of a lot of sunshines and rainbows at the time. And it was very, very lucrative. Things were selling so quickly the moment they got to the Amazon warehouse that it was difficult to do anything else at the moment. So it was very successful. But as they started to grow and move and change and more people came aboard, more rules, more policies, more trouble, so to speak, with some of the other business models. And of course, increased competition made things a little bit more difficult to keep up.
You mentioned that you've tried a lot of the quote unquote money making systems or on Amazon. Can you share what they are?
Certainly. So I began with just books, of course, like Amazon began with just books, and they were the largest bookseller out there. And so, of course, I started with that, and that was very lucrative, but also time consuming to go to different flea markets and thrift stores and garage sales and just things where you could pick up books to sell. The profit margins were outstanding, but what you traded for that was your freedom and driving and pounding the pavement here and there to collect all these big, heavy books to lug around and then send to Amazon. So I quickly realized that that wasn't going to be something I wanted to do long term. But then retail arbitrage was introduced to me. I had no idea that on Amazon you could sell more than books at this time. This was very early 2009 or so, when I was like, wow, you can sell other things other than books. Let's look into that. And so that also, with a very limited budget that we were on, a single, we had small children, and I wanted to be able to stay at home with them. And so with my husband working, we had a very small budget to kind of invest into a business. So, I would say even $20 a week at some point I was investing in inventory. So I had to be very careful about it. And going to stores with two small children and picking retail arbitrage items off the shelf to sell on Amazon, there was great profit margin again, but the scalability was very difficult, even though it was very profitable. Going singly by yourself to store from store to store to store to try to collect inventory for your digital shelf kind of became madness.
Yeah, I totally understand. By retail arbitrage, do you mean finding, for example, sale items on like in a clearance aisle or something in a supermarket and then selling it for normal price on Amazon? Is that what you mean?
Yes, sir. So retail arbitrage, and it can be sale items or even regular price items. It's simply going to a retail establishment of any sort and finding the margins. Oftentimes, people will pay a premium to buy it on Amazon because they can get it in 2 days with Prime, and they don't have to go out and buy it, and they can get exactly what they want. And so most people will pay an additional price for something that they know they could go down to a regular store and buy, but they don't have time or energy, or they don't feel like it. And so there's definitely a lot of margin opportunities there, especially in years past, as opposed to now that's becoming a lot more competitive.
Have you ever seen any of those apps where you sort of scan, I don't know, the barcode or find the item on the app and it tells you what it's likely to sell for on Amazon?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, in my retail arbitrage days, and just for the record, I did a retail arbitrage from 2009 until about 2014. It was very lucrative and very hard to get away from because you would buy things in stores and I use an app like that. As a matter of fact, I use Inventory Lab, which came with Scoutify, and you simply take your phone to any store, scan the barcodes, and the program there will show you the exact amount of profit you will make based on the going rate on Amazon versus what you're paying for it. So you enter the buy cost, and it basically tells you you're going to make $10.12 on this item if you sell it on Amazon. So they made it very, very easy to make those decisions quickly. The downside is that it's kind of a one and done. If you go into a store and you clear out the clearance aisle, or you get some sale items, or you get some things that are kind of on trend and then they're seasonal or something, you can't go back and repeat that. And so you're constantly chasing down the next treasure, which for some of us is very exciting. But at the same time, when you look at long-term sustainability of a business, that's just not going to work. And so I reached a point where my profit and my hours were starting to work 60, 70 hours a week and making really decent money. But at the same time, I was building myself this prison of constantly having to go out and shopping all day to try to find these different pieces of inventory, and started to look into different and better and more scalable opportunities to find profitable inventory.
Yeah, you mentioned scalable a couple of times, and I can imagine that business being it's quite good from a hustle perspective. So if you really want to, I don't know, earn a bit of extra money or something, then it's possible. But at the same time, if you want to repeat it, slight challenges there. When did you decide to get out of it, and what was that decision like?
The decision to start moving away from it was the fact that it was the hours and the time I was putting in. And although it was very profitable, I was just exhausted, and I had 3 children and a husband to take care of and these different things. And I thought, I don't want to spend 60 hours a week out shopping and trying to find these different things and kind of chasing down the next deal. I was a little bit tired of the hustle and was a little bit more looking into, if I want this long term and I would like to keep this sort of income that we're enjoying at this moment, something needs to give. And so we were finding, and when I say we, my mom joined my business in right around 2014. She kind of said, "You're shopping for a living and I love shopping. So can I go with you on one of these shopping trips and show me what you do?" I was like, "Well, sure." She had been working at a restaurant, a very fine dining restaurant for many, many years. And she was sort of worn out and tired of that. And so she kind of came along with some of the shopping trips and realized, wow, this is amazing and fun. And she absolutely loved to do it. I said, "Great, I need some help because I am running ragged here doing all this stuff." So as we were doing that together, then growing, we kind of stumbled upon some really great products, and they were limited access, and they weren't on clearance, they weren't on sale, they were just regular price items that we could go and get often, but we would constantly have to go and clear the shelves at each store and ask the manager if they had any more. So he said, well, let's see if we can, do some wholesale and see if we can get an account with them. And that was fairly easy to do. What was very disappointing was the expectation of profit margin on wholesale items. So maybe like some listeners out there who think, oh, wholesale is, this great thing. I bet I can get it at least half price of what it is at a retail store. And, I'm just going to be we're going to make our millions because, this thing that sells for $10, I'll probably get it for $5 or $4 from the wholesaler. And, we'll all just be, raking in the money. Unfortunately, that is not how it goes. You get a wholesale price list and you realize that $10 item at a retail store is more like $7 at wholesale cost. And with Amazon fees and all the different things that there is, we were going to lose money on that very same thing that we were making money buying retail arbitrage. So we were very discouraged by that. And it was overall across the board, different wholesale companies, it felt like that, because wholesale companies early, for years and years, they've been around and they haven't built that into a business model or in a price. They sell something to a retail brick and mortar store, and those people have their own overhead and what they do with it and what price they charge. But in a e-commerce marketplace, it's such a different beast because there's so many different things involved, like shipping costs, packaging costs, fees on different platforms. And so the traditional wholesale prices are just not going to work on most platforms. Some of them are, and you have to play the volume game. Like if you want to be Walmart, or if you want to be maybe an Amazon type where it's a volume thing, where if you sell 10 million products 10 times a day, you're going for a penny profit. That's great for, the general collective of some big giant company. But as a small business, volume is a very difficult thing to regulate. And so we decided we wanted to be more margin-based instead of volume-based. So we had to really decide what we were going to do, whether it was wholesale or not. So we started looking for other ways to incorporate wholesale in a way that brought value to the customer, but also brought more money to our pockets. Because otherwise we were going back to retail arbitrage because that was what was working. And we discovered that if we added multiple items together that made sense, that people bought together on a regular basis. Think of your shampoo and your conditioner. Most people buy the same brand. They buy it every single week, all the time. And, it would just make it a lot easier if you could just go and buy it in one fell swoop. And that really works on Amazon because people value their time sometimes more than their money. And they would rather just add it to the cart and swipe it and be done and just have it one click rather than shopping around and price shopping or going to a store and things. So that was essentially the creation of the wholesale bundle. We started bundling things together and gift baskets, accessory kits, packs of different items together. And that really, really took off for us.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So is that what your business looks like today? You basically you've done the wholesale prices, and then you've combined products in order to essentially make it worth doing.
Yes, the wholesale bundle system is kind of how I created that product. And we also, for a time with the wholesale in between that, we tried private label because everyone thought, well, everyone at the time was, private label was the holy grail, the top of the Amazon food chain. You can invent your own product and put your own brand on it and put it on Amazon. And of course, that was the trail to the multi-million-dollar business, right? And unfortunately, that was very wrong as well, because if you're a big company with deep pockets, that's a great opportunity for you to create brands and things. But as a small business owner, it's really difficult to even rewind, 5 years of outsourcing something, researching a product, testing it, manufacturing it, having all the things, and tying up your capital for almost 12 months. What we realize is the average private label product, even at that time, bringing it from idea to actual sale is over 12 months long. And cost the average of $15,000 to $25,000. And so because of that, we thought we cannot tie up that much money that long, and just to try to see if one product is actually going to work. So the wholesale bundle model is also what I call poor man's private label, or the kind of the hybrid between wholesale not being enough margin and private label being too expensive and too timely. We needed the money now. And so we kind of married the two together, and we have a couple of very small private label products that we put within our wholesale bundles to kind of make them unique. It keeps the competition away. It sets us apart. So we're essentially creating a whole brand new product without the expense and lead time of private label, yet without the really low margins of wholesale.
So just for people who are unaware, what is private label, if you could summarize it?
Sure. So a private label brand would be just a brand of something that you could either recreate, reinvent, improve upon. So you could go to any manufacturer in the world. A lot of people go to China or India or things like that to have a manufacturer make something that you're going to customize. So instead of just having your regular kitchen utensils, maybe you're going to have them made out of bamboo or something that's more economically sustainable, or you want them all in bright purple because that's what matches your kitchen or whatnot. So you would have them go to the manufacturer who already manufactures certain things and say, I would like to make this my own custom type item, and I'd like to have it in these colors or these styles. Most clothing brands are private label because you've got your own label on it, and whether you make a black t-shirt or a button down polo or something, that you can put your own brand on it and it's your own thing. As opposed to white label items, white label would be more of, go back to the shampoo example. For example, there's manufacturers that make certain shampoos, certain chemical, whatever formula that they have, but they also sell to a Pantene or something like that, but they will also sell it private label to where if you wanted to create your own brand, I could call it Kristin's curly hair shampoo and I can put my own brand, my own label on it, but it's still a product that they're already manufacturing. So you're basically just branding it in a different way and selling it to the masses as if it was your own product. And so you have a little bit of a leg up on private label where you're starting more from scratch versus your own label. But essentially still, you have to keep doing the marketing. You have to still show everybody and show the world and introduce the world to your brand product. So that's what makes wholesale bundles so much easier to start and continue on, is because essentially you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not reinventing a brand or a product that someone has to get to know, like, and trust. They say, oh, I've got, I'm going to sell Nintendo Switch accessories. And although they're not made by Nintendo, there are all these different accessories that you can sell with this little gaming system. And you put the bundle together, people recognize what it is, and, they purchase it. That's
cool. You enjoy what you do?
I do. I really do. I love the creative process of getting inside the customer's head, because bundles, or any product really, has to solve a problem or meet a need in somewhat better ways than maybe competitors out there. So, what my greatest thing about selling on Amazon is that you don't have to sell name brand, big brand items for your items to be purchased. I mean, most of us probably can't name the brand of the last HDMI cord that we bought, yet we need these products, right? We need these things for everyday life, or your mop, or your, certain things that you use every single day. So it doesn't have to be some sexy big brand name that you're, trying to be a household name. People buy ordinary everyday things on Amazon. And if you can solve that problem with the product or meet the need of a customer with speed and convenience and variety, that really translates to profit.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because especially if you've been on Amazon since, was it 2008? Listing products in that time, I would imagine you've got a lot of knowledge on best practices around, if a business is either on Amazon or intends to be, what are some of the best practices that you'd share with them around listing an item?
You need to, if you're creating product listings, the biggest thing that you need to be aware of is that you're speaking to two people at the same time. Number one is the Amazon algorithm. You are speaking to the Amazon algorithm when you're building your listing, and keywords are very, very important. So doing proper keyword research. And I don't care if you have a product that you've had for 30 years and you think it's the very best thing in the whole world. Amazon's algorithm does not care. They care about keywords that customers are searching, and they want to put the most relevant product in front of the most relevant searches at any given time. So describing your product in a very clear, concise way that is going to bring the proper customers to your listing. And the second thing is that you are still speaking to customers. So although you have to meet in the middle somewhere of speaking to algorithms versus your actual customer, they can't purchase your product if they can't find it. So that's part of the keyword strategy there. And then the second strategy would be really making sure that you're hitting the pain points, because honestly, on Amazon, my experience has been that brands don't necessarily sell products. Of course, if you're looking for Nike shoes, you know, you're going to be typing in a specific Nike shoe, and that's exactly what you're looking for. But if you're just looking for beach towels for your holiday, then that you're looking for beach towels, pack of 5, or a blue beach towel, or, you know, something like that. You're not looking for a brand. It's attributes that sell your items. So making sure that when you're creating your listing, you're clear and concise about what the thing is, what it's used for, what are the attributes, what's it made out of, those are the things that people want to know. What color is it? What style is it? What material is it made out of? Those types of things. And I think people tend to overthink that on a regular basis and want to get sexy or fancy with all these words, when really people are searching for products. They're typing specific things like 10-foot HDMI cord. There's really not a whole lot of words that you need aside from those things. That's really what someone's looking for. So don't get super fancy, but making sure that you use the proper keywords to bring your item to the customer.
Well, how do you do your keyword research?
The keyword research is a whole process. So that's part of my wholesale bundle system. Actually, you know, like, I know your listeners can't see this, but you can. It's just my little 12-step framework that created to be able to start from any product at all, any catalog, any product you can think of. You start with that and you walk through these 12 steps. You can end up with a profitable bundle at the end. So whether you're bundling or doing even regular keyword research, it walks you through the different steps of what it takes. So I definitely use some software for that. One of my favorite things is Merchant Words. Merchant Words has been around since, I want to say 2014, maybe 2013. And there's some other competitors out there too, which I actually use multiple different things, different software for different things. But Merchant Words is one of my favorites because they work only with Amazon to with their own algorithms to pull out the top searched keywords for any given product in any category on Amazon across the board. And they have all these different data points that kind of show you the demand of such keywords. So let's go back to HDMI cords for just a minute, just because that was the example I've been using. So you go to Merchant Words and you type in HDMI cord, and then it brings up all the relative keywords, all the different things that you can look at within that. How many people per month are searching for HDMI cords? Is it on the upswing or the downswing? And then it gives you all these different ways that you can analyze that versus what's on page 1 of Amazon's search for HDMI cords and what is frequently purchased with these types of things. You can start mining the data at that point and deciding is there, and then that's when you know, one of the steps of my wholesale bundle system is taking that data and looking at Amazon yourself. Something a bot can't do, something a software can't do, is kind of put common sense and supply and demand together to decide what makes the most sense profitability wise. So, you know, they can tell me that 30,000 people a month or 300,000 people a month search for HDMI cords. But what they can't tell me is going to Amazon, looking at the competition there and looking at other things that people are buying alongside HDMI cords and whether or not that's going to make a decent bundle that someone would want to purchase. So that's kind of the human element within the data. And so walking through the different steps, there are different research processes and a couple of tools that you use in order to formulate what's going to be the best keywords, what's going to actually sell this item, this bundle, and then using those keywords to build your listing.
Sounds like you got a very cool course. Just out of interest, because of something that you mentioned earlier, have you done a load of courses yourself?
I have been teaching since 2014 on Amazon. I have several flagship courses, and I also have a membership group where I do trainings every single month to continue on the path, because as if anybody knows anything about Amazon, they're kind of a shoot first, ask questions later type of company. They bring rules and policies kind of outside of their hat all of a sudden, and there's always different changes and different things. And I also believe that the rising tide raises all ships, and so if we can help each other along, we can all collectively succeed in a way than we would if we weren't alone. So I have created and taught many online digital courses, and I do have my 2 flagship ones that I have done basically out of necessity. Out of everyone, I used to do personal coaching, which I do a small amount of, but as I was speaking with clients, I realized that they were all asking the same questions over and over again, and it was not an effective use of my time to repeat myself hour after hour from different client to different client. And so I saw that there was a necessity to create a course material, a prerequisite, if you will, of some of these different things, so that I wouldn't waste their time or mine repeating over and over the same information. So I built a course that kind of answered all these questions collectively so that people could have a head start before they needed additional help.
Well, I'm kind of hoping I don't ask one of those questions now. Although I think I probably have, haven't I?
Oh, no, it's totally fine. It's actually my joy to be able to answer these questions for, people that are trying to understand Amazon a little bit better, because it is this big giant beast that if you're new to selling or if you're just interested, there's so many moving parts and pieces. And it's they're like a friend of me sometimes. They're like your friend, and they bring a lot of income into our family, and we're very grateful for that. But at the same time, they can be some of our worst enemies on different days, depending on the policy that they decide to create tomorrow. Have
you got any thoughts on reviews?
Oh boy, yes, of course. Amazon has gone back and forth about the importance of reviews on products. They've also gone back and forth about in which ways you can collect such reviews, and there's a lot of black hat methods out there for people trying to constantly create new reviews. But I will tell you this: I don't mind for or ask for reviews on my Amazon products, and I do just fine selling all of the products that I have for sale without major reviews. The reality is, if you're selling a product that customers want to buy, the more expensive a product is, the more important reviews are. For the simple fact that if you're investing $250 in a product, you're going to want to read reviews to see if it's junk, to see what other people say about it, to make sure that you're putting your money out there in a way that's going to have a decent return. But the hidden gem that most people know, at least subconsciously, about Amazon is that they're protected if they buy something that turns junk or is not good or is broken or is, defective in some way. Amazon has #1 customer service in the universe, and they will mostly take back any single thing that you are dissatisfied with for any reason whatsoever. So the buyer confidence is so high on Amazon that reviews are not as necessary as people think they are. In certain categories, they're most extremely relevant, and in some categories, they're not. But I can tell you, out of the products that we have been creating, I would say most of them are in the $30 to $60 range. So they're not super expensive, but they're not super low end where you're going to wonder the quality. So there's in this mid range. And we don't have many reviews on our products yet. We're selling a lot. I mean, we do over $1 million in sales every single year, and we're growing from that. And as a small company, we don't really worry too much about reviews because they're not as relevant or important in the category we sell in. And honestly, I would say not as relevant and important as most people make them out to be.
Okay. So it's sort of like a cause and effect type way of thinking, which I really like, which is if you provide a cause, which is the good product, the effect will be good reviews.
And essentially, there's people that go mining for their reviews, they send out those emails that you get with follow-up and, hey, if you like the product, leave a review. And that's mostly a seller trying to get on Amazon's good algorithm, because they reward you as far as where your listing is placed based on hot top reviews and sales. It's this whole, conglomerate of different data points that will kind of help boost your sales, boost your visibility without paying for it, like with PPC ads and things. But at the same time, people who are buying those products, if you go mining for those reviews, you have to take the good with the bad. Because as collecting reviews, we tried this for a period of time. And every time we would consistently or persistently ask for a review with these follow-up emails that are allowed within the Amazon system, a lot of times 1 out of 5 will be the one person that's dissatisfied and they leave a review, which cannot be deleted. So now you've got 1 bad review and 0 good reviews, because most of the time when people are satisfied and they don't always have time. A lot of people don't care about leaving a review. They're like, I want my product. It's great. Let's move on. So in a time-starved society, people don't love leaving reviews, and unless they're extremely unhappy. And of course, those are the ones that are always there the most, is when people are like, I hate this product, or extremely satisfied with something. So you get a lot of the extremes, and what you really want is a collective of the middle ground where people are like, yeah, this is pretty good. It met my needs. It's great. So got to be careful what you wish for when you're asking for reviews, because you might get, you have to take with the good with the bad.
You mentioned the ads. Do you use ads for your business?
Oh, this is my favorite question of all time. The PPC ad, the dreaded PPC question. So pay-per-click on Amazon is been more up and coming in the past, 2 or 3 years than it ever has been before. It didn't really exist much. And so it's becoming a little bit more of a pay-to-play game on Amazon, with the exception of excellent keyword research, because we do not use PPC. We use organic search. We use, it's all about product selection, to be honest. I mean, if you're trying to sell iPhone cases on Amazon, you're going to probably spend more in PPC ads than anything else, because the competition is fierce. And in order to, if you're trying to compete on very top level products like major big brands, PPC is going to be everything for you. You're going to need ads in order to even compete. Otherwise, people will never see your product because it's buried in oblivion among 10,000 other competitors. So the key to not using PPC ads and not having to pay for a lot of paid traffic on Amazon is to simply provide products that people are looking for on a regular basis in those, what I would consider, underlying or unsexy type categories. Everybody wants to think that I'm gonna sell iPhone cases because everybody in the world has an iPhone, and they, yeah, you and 20,000 other people selling the same thing. So you've got to kind of go and look and do a little bit of research on some of these niche products that people are constantly buying, yet they're not, they're under the trend radar of, things regular people are buying on a regular basis. I have one client that sells nothing but socks and underwear, and it's because it's something that people need on a regular basis. It's not sexy. It's not the thing in the world, but it's something that sells daily, hourly, every single week without fail, because it's just something that every human needs at some point. So those things like that, I think people try to chase trends, and then they have to spend money on PPC ads, where if you're going through our research process, I really pride myself on teaching my students and practicing it myself, that if you do really good research and bring quality products to the table that really solve problems for your customers, you don't need to pay for advertising, because Amazon has already brought 150 million people to their platform. And those people are just hungry to buy whatever you're offering. And so they've already provided the traffic. You just have to provide the listing that to put in front of them.
Yeah, coming back on what you highlighted, I did hear that there was I don't know whether it was Shark Tank. I'm a watcher of Shark Tank, you see, and there has been many businesses on that show where they say, where do you get your sales? And there's been like 7-figure candle businesses, for example, because people like to buy candles, and they put it on Amazon and their business exploded essentially. So I'm not really too sure why I said that. I just like Shark Tank, but it was
I love Shark Tank for so many reasons too. I watch that, and all I want to do is call up those founders and be like, let me help you get your product on Amazon. Because we know the power of it. And let's be honest, I actually did a research study on the number one app used by millennials or even the Gen X, which I have 20-year-old children. So that sort of generation where they grew up with smartphones in their cribs, right? So they and I said, what's the number one app that you could not live without? And I was expecting them to say TikTok or, Snapchat or, some sort of social media something. And I asked 10 of the age group there between 18 and 25, what's the number one app you wouldn't want to live without? They all said Amazon without even talking to each other. Amazon. Like, I buy everything on Amazon. They have everything, and there's variety, and there's anything I need. I can't go down to the local supermarket or to a mall or to anywhere and get that kind of selection and that kind of, I'm looking for these sandals and a size 7 and this color, and you can search all that on Amazon. But if you were at the mall, you would have to shop all day to find those exact things you're looking for. So they have all said Amazon, and so it's really changing the way that people shop. And so if you're not there, you're really missing out on worldwide customers.
Well, this is kind of a speculation one for you, but how long do you think it will be until same-day delivery occurs?
Not long, especially in the European countries. I know that there's some barriers as far as crossing borders and things like that might propose an issue. But here it's as close as the next state away, right? To where you guys are closer to different, closer in conjunction to proximity. But I have a feeling that it won't be long. Probably within the next year or two, it will be a lot more possible than people think. As a matter of fact, and I also, just to put this out there, speculation wise, Walmart is going to be Amazon's #1 competitor within the decade, if I dare not say within 5 years. What Walmart has going for them, well, there's advantages and disadvantages, which there's also third-party selling on Walmart. So say you heard it here first and go start selling on Walmart and Amazon, because they're both are lucrative opportunities. And with Walmart, the advantage that they have over Amazon, once they get their processes together, as far as logistics and delivery and things like that, once they catch up to Amazon in that way, they have far more power to reach far more people, because there's a Walmart store on every corner and every city and every town and every pretty much through the entire United States. And so they have what you would consider these mini warehouses everywhere. So if they have more potential to do same day delivery than Amazon does, because Amazon's still building their warehouses and their infrastructure. But Walmart already has that. So if they can tap into the massive opportunity of providing same day delivery using the facilities they already have, they have an advantage over Amazon. It's just a matter of they need some of those executives to come and work for them to help teach them the infrastructure of what that looks like. But that they're definitely going to be one of the top Amazon competitors that we'll ever see. But they're a little behind the 8 ball.
You just need to have a word with them, right?
Yeah, I would love to have a word with them. We could change the whole business.
So, I mean, you mentioned, well, I spoke to you about reviews, and I think you give a great answer there. Have you got any thoughts on fake reviews?
Yes and no. Yes, in a sense that Amazon's bots are smarter than people sometimes. And people think that they can get away from and hide from Amazon and figure out these backdoor ways to get these fake reviews on things. And they will catch up to you, they will find you, and then they will end you. And the best way is always the honest way. I mean, if you need fake reviews, you really need to question whether or not you have a decent product. Because if you don't have a decent product, then what difference does it make? You're going to get bad reviews eventually anyway. The reason people try to buy reviews in the beginning is because Amazon does, when you're launching a product, Amazon reveres high sales volume and high review numbers. If you've got 5-star reviews from 100 people in the first 30 to 60 days, they're going to give you the attention that you want. But again, going back to the fact that if you're providing a product that people already want in a less than competitive space, that's usually the problem. People that are paying for fake reviews are usually in a highly competitive space, and they're just basically trying to buy their positioning. And unfortunately, that can lead to disaster, and Amazon blacklists people. If they find you and suspend you, they will cut you and your household off from Amazon ever. And they have ways, they trace IP addresses, they even trace addresses where you send things to. So say you've sent a gift to your mom, but then you launched a product on Amazon and then you wanted your mom to review it. They would strike her review because they said it's a related product, you're related to them somehow. And that's not even relation blood-wise. It's they've traced your address to you once sending her something from Amazon, and now they have the addresses linked. And so they literally have this spider system of linking people in such a way that they can track fake reviews as quickly as a hound dog can, track a bird that has been shot down. So those are types of things that people think that they can get away with, and eventually you will be found out.
Okay. This is more of a general one. I've always expected to see more video on Amazon. Is that happening? Or have I just missed it?
Yes, absolutely is happening. As a matter of fact, Amazon's launching several different things. They've launched Amazon Live, which is kind of in a beta type of position right now, where they're getting and hiring and vetting influencers to basically be live selling product like you would see at a QVC or the Home Shopping Network or something, where they're doing this sort of live demonstration of different products, and they've got some sort of influencer there that people maybe know and love or respect, or at least know somewhat, and they're selling these products and people are buying in the moment. So it's kind of like this hybrid of live streaming product demonstration and sales like you would see on a QVC, but it's cooler because Amazon's doing it, right? So there's that, but there's also the introduction of A+ content and videos that you can add when you are brand registered. So if you have a trademarked brand, I have a trademark brand, even though nobody knows about it or really even cares about it. I have a trademark brand for the simple fact that Amazon gives you more benefits when you have a government trademark, and that can be overseas or US or whatever country you can trademark in. Amazon usually honors that government paperwork of registering that. So they have a lengthy process for that. But once you have it, they reward you with these different benefits. And one of those is being able to add video to your listings. So of course, I like to try out all the new things and see if Amazon's blowing smoke or it's actually a great opportunity. And so just recently, we launched a bundle that also has one of our has a full-blown private label product in it. It was one of our first attempts to be able to create something that was all our own, but it was also, I have some wholesale products in there. So it's wholesale bundles, but it's still our flagship product. And so as we launched this in a soft launch, we realized we had an opportunity to put some video in there. And so I created a couple of different videos. It was more of how-to instruction type of things, and then a little bit of best practices of where, how, when these can be used. And I launched that. Amazon has to approve the videos, and then once they approve the videos, they appear on the listing page. So you still see an image, but if you click to the listing, you see an image, and then you can see the different content that you're able to put in there as far as video form. And what we realized that as the people that clicked on the listing, 92% of people clicked on the listing watched the video. That is a huge indicator that our customers want to know more about our products. Now, some products we really don't need videos for, because let's be honest, we don't need to demonstrate how to, wear a flip-flop sandal. Like
I thought you were going to go with the HDMI cable. I'm disappointed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually was going to go with that, but then my thought process was like, well, some people might really need to know where that plugs in. So, but seriously, like some people, like again, the HDMI cables, we don't really need to know this plugs in here, this plugs in there. There's not a whole lot to say about them. But there's other products that we've all seen that we thought, gosh, I really wish I could see this in action. Or I love this product, but I don't know how to fold it up and get it back into the case. Or, there's just some user error that you want to prevent, right? And so our product had a similar thing. It folds, and it folds in a very funky way. And so I just did a 40-second demo on the exact step-by-steps of how you fold this up and put it back in the case. And it's viewed 92% of the time when people come to the listing and look at this, they view that video. And they have buyer confidence because they realize that they're not going to get it home and figure out how, well, I love this product, but then it doesn't fit back in the case the right way, or it doesn't, this part doesn't fold down the right way. I need a demo. And it really enhances the customer experience. And Amazon will always put their customer first. And unfortunately, their sellers aren't their customers. They are worried about the end user 100% of the time. And they allow you to sell on Amazon, but you're not the priority. Their customer is the priority. And so anything that can enhance a customer experience and have satisfied customers that come back, Amazon is all about that. So video is highly recommended if it's appropriate.
Yeah, product demo can be very powerful, so I'm not surprised that it really works. Have you got anything that you feel that would be valuable to mention that we haven't discussed so far?
Oh, do you have like 4 hours? No, I'm kidding.
Hey, it's been great. So thank you for the breakdown. I think it's
for sure.
brilliant.
I love to be able to help people and inspire people to, if they have that entrepreneurial spirit, if they need a side hustle, if they're just curious, or maybe you have brick and mortar listeners who say, well, I've got these great products and they sell well locally, but I would like to go more global with that. How do I get started? Slow. And I would suggest that if anyone's interested in starting on Amazon, that you do a little bit of research. Of course, YouTube and podcasts are very, just a free way to start gathering some information. But what I would caution you is to just not try and listen to too many people and too many, different things. So focus in on someone who resonates with you or sounds like they have a business model that would be right for you, and kind of lean into just a few people, because there are lots and lots of people talking about how to make money on Amazon, and there's all kinds of different avenues to approach. I will say that if people get started and are interested in that if you start hearing people saying you can make $20,000 in your first month and this and that, and just all you have to do is, these get rich quick or these very fast-paced kind of profit type models, run in the opposite direction because it can be simple, but it's not always easy. And I hope that makes sense in a way that there's a lot of steps, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of processes that you should have in place. It's not just jumping in, going to Alibaba, buying the next biggest trend, throwing it on Amazon and making your millions. It's way more complicated than that, but it doesn't have to be as complicated. Step by steps and very slow approaching it is the best way to go about it. So if you're interested, following people that have been around the block a while and that have business models that you feel comfortable with, and then just following a select few people to get the best information.
Have you been burned by course creators making extraordinary claims then? Is that why you say that?
I have not, but I have many clients who have come to me after spending their life savings with swindlers saying, okay, if you buy into the system and you get this private label product, we'll do everything for you. And then they end up with $25,000 of paperweight products in their garage that they can't sell on Amazon because so many things were left out. There's too many holes in the story, and people demand just more and more money to continue to help you move along, when it can be a very self-directed, which is just a handful of people teaching really valuable things. And there's lots of people teaching really valuable things. But what happens is a lot of people want to do, they get the shiny object syndrome, right? They're like, okay, I'm going to do merch by Amazon. I'm going to create t-shirts and sell this at a royalty level so I don't have to hold inventory. Or drop shipping's got to be the way to go, because people are attracted to the things that seem easier, right? Mm. But the things that make the most money and are most sustainable are not the easy things. And that's why there's only a handful of people that will succeed and select those things, because the successful road is not the straight and narrow road. It's not the easy road. It's the rocky, bumpy, up and down road that will eventually get you to the top of the mountain, rather than it's not an elevator. And so a lot of people are looking for that elevator. And I would just caution people that take time and energy to focus on it, because it's a very lucrative, long-term, sustainable business if you do it correctly.
Well, I like your approach because you're essentially saying there is a demand, you do your research, and then you go and supply that demand, which has always been, well, I wouldn't say always, but it's a business principle that normally works, right? So, and also I have listed on Amazon previously, and having a guide would be very helpful for anyone who hasn't done it yet. I found that anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's just like, you don't know what you don't know. And, to have some honest, respectable people that you can ask questions about. I mean, that's why I built my community, because even with a course, even with several courses, people still have questions. Or, when you're a beginner, you're a beginner. You don't know what you don't know. And you need to kind of ask a few questions, even if they seem silly or irrelevant. And because we are able to help each other, we have other really great, smart sellers that can answer questions for you and help you along the path. And that's really important in any sort of business, is to have some sort of mentor or some sort of group of people that you can kind of collectively share information and help each other succeed.
And what are your goals for your business?
Huh.
Oh,
I
and
love that
also
question.
to add to that, do you have an exit strategy in mind or not?
Yes, absolutely. And that's actually what I was going to say. My goal is to for the next couple of years, we are building and we are kind of sustaining and cleaning up loose ends here and there. We have really dialed in and focused on what we're doing. And in the next 3 years, I'd like to sell the business. And my mom is my business partner, and she's at a retirement age, and she loves to work and she loves working. So she's like, I want to still be involved in some way. And so and when I say that, I no discredit to her. She is 50% partner and she is 50% of the company. She is a workhorse and she's creative, and we work really, really well together. But I've discovered my love for writing. I wrote my first book a year and a half ago, and I love writing and teaching and speaking. And so I'd like to dedicate more time to that. And so because of that, I'd love to sell my Amazon business in order to focus more on teaching and training and writing and the things that I just love doing. So I'm looking to maintain what we have and just kind of make sure that it's all set up for the buyer, whoever
Nice.
that's going to be.
And did you say that's 3 years?
That's kind of the goal. I would like it to be sooner, but it really just depends on the marketplace right now. We've actually had our business evaluated. And of course, 2020 was kind of a nightmare for all kinds of reasons. I mean, we did well, but not as well as we did in previous years, just pandemic and all kinds of things. And so the evaluation of the business, I probably would have sold it then if the advisors were like, hey, if you could just give it through 2021 or maybe even another 18 months, this would be in a position where you would want it to be. So there's a lot of buyers out there for FBA businesses, because once you have a model like mine, I've had it evaluated by 2 different brokers, and they've said that this is very unique and very lucrative for a buyer of such a business, because it's so unique in a way that it already has built-in competition-proof stuff. We have very solid vendors we work with, and it's really in a great position. We just are boosting the numbers a little bit more so that we can squeeze a little bit more out of it before we let it go. So that is the exit strategy.
Wow. Well, I'd like to hear about it when it does happen. So thanks for sharing it.
Certainly.
Kristin, where is the best place for people to find you?
Best place for everyone to find me and on all social and everywhere is mommyincome.com. That is the name of my company. And no, you don't have to be a mommy to connect with me. That was just, I'm the mommy making the income. So that's kind of how the name came about. I'm also the host of the Amazon Files podcast. So you can find me wherever you find podcasts on the Amazon Files podcast, and all socials are at Mommy Income. So love to connect.
Well, thank you for all the information. I think it's been great and very valuable for anyone considering going on Amazon. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.